This is your radio, Cayman.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really a wonderful opportunity to start off the show today with a few minutes of an opportunity for us to share with our Cayman National Choir and Orchestra. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. And thank you so much for joining us. And no, we don't actually have the choir and orchestra in the studio, but man, what we do have is a wonderful representation of what you will get. The President, Mr. Sidney Coleman. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon to you, and thank you very much indeed for the invitation to come along and talk about Cayman National Choir and Orchestra.
Well, I'm honored that you would, be able to join us, and many times, especially not just the Christmas renditions, but to be able to sit anywhere and listen. Even outdoors, that you think, well, you need an acoustic theater, you guys sound magnificent. So thanks for all the great work, and especially to Mr. Graham Morris for always helping us facilitate discussions. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Well, thanks again for having us here and being able to talk to listeners about this concert we've got coming up on Friday. We are performing a concert at the Hartwell Theatre called Royal Variety Performance, and I expect the musical director of the orchestra, Jonathan's here, is going to tell you more about it, what we're going to be singing and playing. But it's another opportunity for people to come and hear us, and we have a lot of loyal followers that come along. But I think there are a lot of people, that don't know that Cayman has a national orchestra. It's been around, I think, since 2002. The choir's been around since 1977, so people know about that. But a lot of people come along to our orchestra and they say, that's fantastic. I didn't know we had such talented people and that we even had an orchestra like this. So thanks for giving us the opportunity to tell people more about our national orchestra.
Well, Jonathan Taylor sort of falls on you in a sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, I look at some of the training initiatives organized with our students from time to time, and whether it's a visiting sort of musicians or whether it's just part of the development, to see these young aficionados almost, and then to watch a few of them over the years, it's amazing what they become. But their interest follows them beyond graduation of high school and university.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, and I think for us, it's wonderful, as Graham said, to have this national orchestra, and we really want to see ourselves really as sort of like the pinnacle of the classical music scene here on Cayman, and something that is something for people to get involved in, but also for young people to be inspired by. There's so much music going on the island. I myself work for Musicians Limited. We're busy teaching children all day, and there's so many different programs out there, the Cayman Arts Festival, the Cayman Arts Trust, so many things. What we really want is for all of these young people to come and see us in order to sustain it and build it to be even greater and to sustain it going forward. So,
Mr. Coleman, from that perspective, there are some... I think of you over the years, and not to imply that, certainly looks a bit like your age, certainly. But over the years, you work in a demanding sort of industry. And then I think of one particular performance at Christmas. There you are with all the others singing. It almost seemed as if for those of us, it would be leaving work and going fishing. It's a lot of preparation to get there, but being on the water, throwing your line out, it's relaxing, bringing the fish in. To watch you and some of those perform, to know what it takes to prepare, to rehearse, is it as wonderful to watch it as it is to perform?
It's certainly wonderful to perform, despite the hours we have to spend rehearsing, and not all the rehearsals go according to plan, as you might imagine. But to compare it with working and then going to rehearsals, you've got me on that one, because one of the few things I did after retiring was to join the National Choir. Yeah. So I didn't have to go through working all day and then going to choir practice like the 40 or 50 people I rehearse with nowadays do. But it's quite inspiring once you get up there and tonight's the night, and you're up there, everybody's dressed, everybody's ready, and Sue or John come up, you hear the first bit of music, and it is special, and particularly if you have a large crowd, a large audience to play to, and particularly after the show, when the audience, as Graham mentions, are in awe and say, this was absolutely fantastic. I didn't even realise I was in the Cayman Islands. It was so good, and you must let us know when your next concert is on, etc. So yes, it's equally special and great to be up there singing, if you enjoy singing, and being able to sort of portray to the audience just what we can offer.
All right. One thing I'd like to add to that is that I joined the choir 5 years ago, also retired like Sydney, and had never sung before, and I was persuaded to come along. I was kind of dragged along because I thought I've never been in a choir before. And the wonderful thing about our choir is the only non-denominational choir in the Cayman Islands. Everything else is church choirs. It's all ages, both genders, and we don't have auditions. So people like me were able to come along, feel your way into it gradually, and I was very nervous at first, and then have this pleasure that Sydney's talking about of singing some of the world's greatest music. We're going to be singing the Hallelujah Chorus on Friday, and I sang that at Elmsley one Christmas. And music like that is so uplifting. I mean, just rehearsing it when we do, it makes a hair stand on your back of your neck. So the point is that it's something that anybody can do, and we do welcome new members all the time. We're always looking for new members who shouldn't be put off if, like me, they've not sung in a choir before. Because it's easy to pick it up and then get really hooked on it.
Thank you, Chris. That's a perfect segue. I was trying to get to Jonathan. A professional musician, you expect, well, do you expect from the choir members, this, and this? But as Mr. Sydney and Mr. Martha reminds us, come along. Enthusiasm will teach you. I mean, is there even room for me? Because I put a tune in the wheelbarrow and it fell. So I'm not sure, but tell me. I mean,
no, of course it is. I mean, I think, one of my greatest pleasures really is working with, community groups and things. And I think it's really special. Like, these guys have illustrated that, you might never have done it before. But I think, working with a musical director to coach and get the music out of people and guide them like that, that's one of the greatest pleasures, I think, even them working with totally professional musicians, that's very sterile in a way, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But actually, working with a community group is amazing, and the results that we've achieved
but
is great.
Does that put then, because I was thinking, for me, anything that says this is the national team, it could be the national, marble championship team. If it's has that word national as part of the indicative of representative of the country, it needs to be elevated to a certain this would be this decorum, this deportment, the way we dress, present, the way we sound. And you guys, certainly are wonderful representations of it. You wouldn't know from being in the audience that these are not professional trained musicians who just happen to have a day job, as it were. But knowing otherwise. So you learn on it. Do you need to come with it with a certain level of ability, not just enthusiasm?
No, I think you have to have an enjoyment in singing. There'd be no point coming along if you didn't, and you don't want to be sort of tone deaf. And but I'd say, generally speaking, anybody who has got the enthusiasm to come along will enjoy it. And I think one thing that does happen is, as John said, you're drawn out of yourself. You may come along as a bit, and as Graham has mentioned, he came along, he's very apprehensive initially, wasn't sure where or how he would fit in. Being and becoming part of a team, you really get drawn out. So you're standing next to the next guy and he's singing a bit loud, and you're encouraged to really, you're not timid, your timidness disappears eventually and you come out of yourself, so you're all singing in gusto, you might say, and that's when it really does start, and out of that you get the confidence to be able to sing and to go for notes you might otherwise have been terrified to try and get to.
So I can see great fellowship and camaraderie and wonderful friendships being formed that last for years.
Oh, well, certainly. And that's, at the end of the day, that's the thing that really gels it together, isn't it? I mean, the music is like the main thing, but I think that keeps it together is, all of these people coming together for a similar, aim, and all becoming friends and working as a team. It's amazing. If music be the food of love, play on, they tell us, right? Indeed. All right. Well, when you come back from the break, could you share with us? I know the performance is coming up this Friday. I mean, why not make Friday the 13th even better? Indeed.
Right? It's going to be at the Harkwell Theatre. You can, as your flyer says, everything from Handel to Queen and everything in between. I just like how that sounds. I won't ask you, but certainly I won't object. You want to hum a few bars? I mean, who knows? Just to see and to confirm, yep, definitely not for me. I should be in the audience applauding, not on stage. But when we come back, share more, maybe some of the different items that you perform, how we can get tickets. All right. We'll pause. We'll take a break. If you have a comment or a question, you want to share a thought, complimentary otherwise, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-TALK. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
For the health of it, Radio Cayman's premier health show is brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy, the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, Holy Cross Hospital,
Cayman Fertility Center,
and EatingClean.com.
This is For the Health of It with Tara Bush. National Drug and Alcohol Facts Month in Cayman is bringing a variety of competitions for all ages. Teachers, students, and schools, this is your chance to win big prizes by entering one or more of our competitions. Secondary schools and students, enter our TikTok competition, Battle of the Canvases, and the poster contest. Primary schools, your classroom door competition is all about healthy living. All the deadlines and information is on our website. Enter the competition. Let's get creative and shatter the myths today. For more information, check out our website, ndc.ky, call 949-9000, or email info@ndc.ky.
It's that time of the year again. Time for the Cayman Islands Meals on Wheels Change for Change Coin Drive. Time for us to come together as a community and raise much needed funds to support Meals on Wheels so they can provide meals to some of the most vulnerable members of our country, our seniors. They need 200 volunteers over 2 days. Will you donate just 2 hours of your time to come out and assist in collecting donations for Cayman Islands Meals on Wheels? Last year, the Meals on Wheels Coin Drive helped raise enough funds to provide over 6,000 nutritious hot meals to seniors, housebound, and disabled individuals in need. Thanks to generous donations and awesome volunteers like you who gave their time. Join Cayman Islands Meals on Wheels, Davenport Development, and Radio Cayman in the fight to end senior hunger in the Cayman Islands. Volunteer today. Contact Meals on Wheels at info@mealsonwheels.ky or call 769-1974.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. And thanks so much for joining us. And truly is an opportunity to be able to have, for the public to be not just aware, but extend the invitation to them to accept to come out this Friday evening at the Harkwell this year Cayman National, choir and orchestra. We have the wonderful company that's president, as I said, Coleman joining us, the national director, Mr. Taylor. Thanks so much, and Mr. Graham, for me, and to know of you over the years, from whether you're writing, whether you're sailing, but to say it's only been 5 years that you've been singing sort of formally. Hey, life only gets better when you get to that stage where you can start to truly enjoy the things that you like and not have to worry too much, about having to get up in the morning and file that paper, as it were, send that off that letter and post it in the mail. Nowadays, do they do that? but tell us, for the performance, maybe we start with Jonathan. You're going to be up there, conducting and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got your?
Yeah, I've got my baton.
All right. Is that the hit? I'm just kidding.
Well, it depends if people play wrong notes,
Nah, just people hear me going, "Oh, we're just kidding."
Yeah. No, I mean, the concert's really exciting. I mean, we've had this idea for a while now of doing something that was kind of royalty related, and we thought it'd be really cool to sort of have two sides to this. I mean, when people think royalty and royal music, we think of all this regal stuff. We'll be playing things like the national anthem, the music of like William Walton and Handel, all of these old composers who've written music for royalty, and it's synonymous with that. But then as well, there's all these other musical genres and artists that have got names for themselves as being the king, perhaps, So, we'll be playing a bit of Elvis in this concert. We'll also be hearing a bit of Dancing Queen. So, we've kind of gone off on a little bit of a tangent there, which is great. And, talking about what makes this this whole organisation very special is not only having all these people from different walks of life being involved, but people with different tastes, and that's what we really like to involve with the the Cayman National Choir and Orchestra is variety. Making sure that there's always something that appeals to everyone, whether you're in it to enjoy singing and playing it, or whether you're in the audience and you're making sure that everybody gets something. So we've got things from classical music, baroque music. We've got ABBA, Elvis. We've got a bit of jazz. We're doing some Duke Ellington. So there really is something for everybody.
So the king, the duke, the queen. I mean, we got everybody.
Exactly. Sure, that's the idea. And then something as well, which is really special to me. Particularly, I'm a composer as well and a teacher, and I always like to give opportunities to young people to have pieces of their own performed. So many kids on this island are having to do composition for the GCSE or A levels, this type of thing. And it's a really hard thing to do. Some people really struggle with it, and my answer to that really is it's very hard to write unless you've heard your own music being played. And I've actually got a composition student from St Ignatius, Charles Henderson, who has written a piece for the orchestra for this occasion. So there will be something completely new at this concert, written by a student. I think he's only about 15. Maybe less, and that will be being premiered at this particular concert. So we'll be hearing a brand new piece of music written by one of the youths of Cayman, which is brilliant.
And you think about it, I say this with the greatest admiration and hopeful, and to encourage us all. In this small space, the opportunity for your National Choir and Orchestra to perform a piece would be almost next to impossible in almost any other jurisdiction. But you get a chance to not just showcase what is here, but for you to say, hey, that could be me. Playing for your national team and being a starting 11, being able to be the national badminton champion, squash champion. This is encouraging. This is what makes Cayman so special.
Dreams come true in Cayman.
Yeah, man. But look at me. I mean, I'm dreaming of being tall and handsome. There it is, man. With the red filter.
And slim.
Slim and muscular with good hair.
Yeah.
No, but that's the encouraging part. I think this is why when I look to people like you and Mr. Graham, this notion that not only dreams come true, but we can elevate ourselves, elevate our society, but introduce and involve so many of us. Classical music for a number of us, perhaps because of how it was introduced and presented in the early days, were relegated to a certain time and certain spaces. I remember the first time there was a reggae group that came and they were performing. There was an issue with power, and this was a long time ago. Dinosaurs were probably still roaming the earth, and they, being classically trained, some of them quickly, were able to go bring forward the part that they were going to do later on, and just instrumental. And you thought, wait a minute, this is the Royal Philharmonic or is this Chalice? And they perform And that just shows you the talent. Kind of what Glenn Angle has always shared. Up until watching him with the steel pan, I call it the steel drum. I didn't have the same affinity for it because it was always this soca, this thing. But he took it and he did all these things with it. And I thought, wow, that is that same drum that hold oil way back when, and he's doing this thing with it. Whole new appreciation.
Yes.
I think you're right about what's unique about Cayman, and when people come to our concerts, they say afterwards, "I didn't know there was so much talent in Cayman. I'm amazed."
Yeah.
And I'm particularly talking about the orchestra here because people don't hear the orchestra very often. But John has some really talented players that in his orchestra that are absolutely first class. And it's people won't believe it until they hear it. So hopefully they'll come on Friday and hear it.
Yeah, I mean, we are very lucky. I mean, just going back a couple of years when Hurricane Irma hit, we had a lot of evacuees come from different islands, in the Caribbean, and came here. And a few people were instrumentalists. Some people came to the choir, some people temporarily came to the orchestra. And some of those people were just like, this is amazing. Like, we don't have anything like this in the Virgin Islands or wherever else they were from. It's just quite amazing for this island to have what it has. And something that we're really conscious of, as Graham has mentioned about, new members and things like that, is we've got to keep it going.
Yeah.
Because all it takes is for, this person to leave or that person to leave, and it can be a very, very different ensemble and a very different dynamic. Yeah. So, anything that we can do to encourage all these youths that are doing music to see us and see this as the, the aim, that's what we want, so.
But this is one of the other reasons.
I think that's particularly happened since you got your percussion instruments as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You have been able to extend and open new doors for a lot of students here on the island.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate to have our entire orchestra completely kitted out with a set of professional percussion instruments, which Mr. Coleman was very instrumental in organising.
No pun intended, huh?
Indeed.
Don't play.
And I mean, that's now. I mean, our orchestra is completely firing on all four cylinders. We've got everything there. We've got all this equipment, professional standard. That's there for people to come and use. And again, talking about the youth, it's amazing because people think, well, this orchestra, surely they're all adults. And it's not only our composer in residence who's a youth, but we've got a handful of students in the orchestra now because they are good enough. People say, oh, how old do you need to be in the orchestra? I'm like, well, it doesn't matter how old you are as long as you're good enough.
If I made an ask, let me ask the second question first. In terms of age and commitment and participation, I know just from I guess a casual observer, sometimes the practices and the times and the commitments. And for many of us, we probably don't appreciate the importance of that work-life balance, that time management. But for you, how often do you rehearse? For a person who was prepared to commit, they've enjoyed singing, they have some level of talent and can develop. Do you practice every day for 5 hours a day? When is your scheduled rehearsals? What will be the commitment required of new members? That sort of thing.
Well, our weekly schedule is basically the choir rehearses every Monday evening and the orchestra rehearses every Wednesday evening. So that happens throughout the year in school term time basically. But I don't know. I mean, what practice do you put in, guys?
Thanks to
6 hours a day.
Thanks to YouTube, there are a lot of tracks you can rehearse along with, and particularly for this concert, we're doing all the major classical work. People have gone on YouTube and practiced it in the soprano, alto, tenor, bass part, so I can hear the Hallelujah chorus and hear someone singing the bass part, and I can practice along with it. So Sue Horrocks, the choir musical director, is always encouraging. I hope you are, practicing at home. And nowadays you can practice at home, and it's just a question of being dedicated to doing it. I think it's slightly different in terms of people who play instruments, though. I mean, obviously they are practicing a lot more than just coming to rehearsals, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah, certainly. People are always saying, "Can I take this home? Can I take this home practice?" And we're like, "Absolutely, yeah." I mean, even professional musicians don't just necessarily sit down and play it exactly as it is. It does take a lot of work. All of our musicians, obviously, take music and practice it. Particularly our section leaders, they need to be the ones who make decisions on how exactly everyone's going to follow them. And even for myself, I don't just turn up and open the score and off we go. I've got to make a lot of big decisions that makes our rehearsal process smooth and we can get on with it very quickly. So it takes a lot of preparation on everyone's part, you know.
Well, it shows. I mean, to be in the audience, and even if it's an outdoor performance for some charity, or whether it's performances, you know, people do come away not just wow, but they are truly, truly amazed. Now, that's the other thing I wanted for us to appreciate from a small nation, whether it's sport, academics, or the arts. We have so much here. We need to celebrate and champion it. We, all of us who are living and working, and this is where we are now, need to elevate it so that there's a healthy respect for it amongst us, and then, you know, with it by the rest of us, so that we look at it with this pride. I mean, it has to be. Right, Mr. Coleman?
Well, there's just so much talent on the island, creative talent, whether you're talking about sporting, you're talking about painting, you're talking about music. You know, it's a far cry from the days when I first arrived in the Cayman Islands, when we were little more than a big village, really.
You came by the Goldfield, I think. Sorry.
just after it sank.
I should be.
But it's staggering. I think even today I find it staggering just how much talent there is on the island, born and bred here. And I think people who are visiting or people who haven't been exposed to it are even more surprised that it's just so widespread. I mean, at one time, a lot of when I arrived, quite a few expatriates came in and they played instruments, things like that. Not the most you did was probably have a sing around at home. There's no orchestra or even dreams of an orchestra at that time. But over a period of time, both increase in expats, but also the increase in the schooling education and the people at school who want to play instruments and have the ability to have access to the instruments has made such a world of change here now.
I think also the growing respect by the wider community, from the families giving their time to the community giving of its treasure, to recognize the importance of the arts, so that the music wasn't just something that you did because maybe a parent did it and they were teaching you, but it became, you know, a potential career. It became an examination subject. It became this thing that brought you more than just an evening. I mean, it goes back to our days of the kitchen dance. That was the centerpiece, as it were, for the wedding, for the entertainment. And it's been elevated, man. It's been a great testament.
And I think so many different nationalities now here on the island have also brought such a widespread of aspects from their own home country. So it's very, very broad.
I don't know how many nationalities we have in the choir, but a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, how many people do we have in the choir? Because I was just trying to think the last time I saw it and I was counting, but then after I got past 20, I lost. So I had to go back. Okay.
It'd probably be between 35 and 40.
Yeah. All right.
In the choir?
In the choir.
In the choir, yeah.
I would say it's a few more than that.
Yeah.
You're never quite sure, because we're going to do a performance on Friday, but some people are going to be away, haven't been to rehearsal, they're not going to be at the concerts. I would say probably about 40 to 50.
That was my estimate.
And the orchestra would be...
Yeah, very similar, actually, about 40.
Yes.
Because some evenings, I mean, I think back to one of the last ones, sort of public outdoors, it looked large. I mean, it looked very impressive. Everybody smartly attired, and it looked, I don't want to say formal, give the people the wrong impression, but it was very professional. It looked amazing.
There's going to be 80 people on that stage at the Harcourt on Friday night.
So there's no place for audience. Just kidding. No, sorry.
Not on the stage.
On the stage, 80 people, It's a big sound.
Yeah.
And John likes a big sound, don't you?
We all like a big sound, yeah, exactly. I mean, certainly for this, I mean, we've got a lot of grand pieces going here, so it's going to be exciting. It really is.
Can we talk more about those grand pieces and anything else you want to share? We're going to final quick break of our segment. We come back, we remind people it is this Friday. We get some tickets. It's at a Harquail. We'll talk a little bit more about it for another
Fine. Yes.
All right. Well, when we come back, we'll wrap up our discussion. As we talk about the National Choir and Orchestra, and they, as I say, a royal variety performance. But how Mr. Morse says it just sounds so much more regal. What is it, Mr. Morse? Say it for us. I say a royal
variety performance.
Because I say it in an English accent. Is that what it is? Well, I can say royal variety performance. Let's say it again.
A royal variety performance.
Miss Johnny's going to be leave him alone.
When we were thinking of the title, we did think of calling it a royal affair, and then we thought maybe that wasn't a very good idea.
That would have been a good idea.
Not in recent times, anyway.
All right, let's pause and take a break. Whether it's a royal affair or not, you're going to have a wonderful evening. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
At Canine Resort and Spa, your dog gets the red carpet treatment. That's why people trust us and pets love us. Offering doggy daycare, boarding, training, and grooming services for any breed, size, or style. From head to tail, we'll make your dog smile.
Choose from 4 grooming packages, from the basic bronze package of a hydrobath, shampoo and conditioner, wash and blowout, to the platinum package including spa services like a doggy massage and berry facial. Canine will help your pet look picture perfect. Receive a loyalty card where your 6th grooming package is free. Limited availability.
Visit Canine Resort Services, Canine Resort and Spa, where the posh dogs go.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of the Business Buzz is brought to you by Count on Us Cayman Limited, offering bookkeeping services, property management, customs brokerage, and Cayman auto and tech services. For more information, call them on 623-6941 or 323-3995 or email info@countonuscaymanlimited.com.
Imagine if we all practice safe driving. Imagine if we all refuse single-use plastic. Imagine if we all turned off lights when not in use. We can all do our part in making our Cayman Islands safer, cleaner, and greener. Together, we can achieve. Visit gov.ky/safer, cleaner, greener to learn more.
The Cayman Islands Seafarers Association wishes to inform all members that there will be a March social on Tuesday, the 17th of March at 7 p.m. in the Seafarers Hall, 11 Victory Avenue in Prospect. 3 buses will leave from West Bay Town Hall at 6 p.m. The Barnes bus route in Georgetown leaves the public library parking area at 6:30, stopping at the Cayman Compass Building and Airport Fosters. The bus marked Bobo $1 public transport and is blue in color will do pickups from British Caymanian, Uncle Bill's, Walker's Road, Shedden Road, and Crew Road. The bus from East End will do pickups from the school parking lot, gas station, and the Wreck of the 10 sales starting at 5:45 p.m. The north side pickups will be at the Chisholm store and the soccer field starting at 6:15 p.m. The Boddentown pickups are at Lorna's gas station at 6:45, and the Savannah pickups are at the gas station at 7 p.m.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. It really is a distinct pleasure to showcase our Cayman National, choir and orchestra, and to have their president, Mr. Sidney Coleman. I mean this sincerely. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, and to Mr. Graham Moore. So I can imagine the only other joy that he would have would be on the boat somewhere, right? There he's thinking, okay. And the director, Mr. Jonathan Taylor, thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
As we were inviting you to share with us, more about the evening, just one other question relative to potentially members who would join. There are some of us who, when we take a shower, we are glad that it says make a joyful noise, because whether it's one of our parents, whether it's our siblings, sometimes it's our house guests. They're in a shower and that becomes their chamber, as it were, and they're having fun. There are some of us, though, that once we leave those walls of the shower, we shouldn't really venture any songs at all, present company included. But for that, I mean, the invitation, how would one, if they were interested in joining, you see there's no auditions, how would they step out and find out? And
Well, I think it's just worth giving it a go, isn't it? Just like, Graham's story, I think it's, I think people just need to know that they're going to be welcomed, certainly. And if people, when we get new members coming along to either the choir or the orchestra, people are always, certainly, really welcomed. And I think with the choir in particular, people are just encouraged to get involved right away, and they'll probably find that they're in a very similar boat to other people. Particularly if people haven't necessarily sung before, you'll find that, if you're learning a new piece, everyone will be learning it together. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just worth people just trying to get in there.
Just show up?
Just show up, yeah. Come on, come and get involved.
Come as you are. Huh?
Yeah.
Monday or Wednesday. Monday or Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Monday night for the choir, Wednesday night for the orchestra, and our rehearsal premises are just based on West Bay Road. So how would we describe it? We call it Kaboo because it was the building that was painted for Kaboo, but it was previously Mitzi's Jewelers. It's been a nightclub.
Right. Nightclub.
Do we know where we are? Yeah.
Yes.
Bay Harbour Centre. It's been known as many, many things, but that's where we rehearse.
Next to Transnational.
That's right. The multicoloured building directly after Transnational, heading north.
Yeah, highly in need of a paint, but anyway.
yeah. So but we just welcome people to come along, and even if actually people wanted to come along and just watch a rehearsal, that's totally fine as well.
So Monday evenings for the
Monday evenings for the choir. That's right.
At what time again?
7:30 start. Yeah, and then same thing, but on Wednesday for the orchestra as well.
By midnight you'll be out of there.
Yeah.
Finish at 10.
Yeah.
And it's great because the venue that we've got now is brilliant. We've got our own space. The orchestra and the choir both live in there, and it's a great sort of social space as well. And something we really want to encourage, before and after rehearsals, is for people to, get to know each other and and have a social time as well.
Right.
It's also been great for playing host to some of our concerts as well. Actually, we've had a couple of performances actually in our premises. Which has been really nice, actually, hasn't it? It's really nice to have.
Yes.
All right. But certainly this coming Friday evening at the Harkwheel for the public. Well, again, we ask you tickets, and then tell us more about the whole event. Mr. Graham?
Right. Well, it's on Friday, this Friday, starting at 7:30. Doors open at 6:30, and there'll be a bar, so people come and relax and chat beforehand. Tickets are available from eventpro.ky online. So eventpro.ky. They are $25 for adults and $10 for children. But if anyone can't go online for some reason to get tickets, members of the choir and orchestra, if you know any of them, they will sell tickets, and Abacus in Commander Bay have also got tickets to sell.
All right. Well, this is what I think brings the community together, and with all this, from the director to the members to the rehearsals to all the commitment, but also there are many hands behind the scenes, cash in kind otherwise. Share with us, who's helping to bring this together for us.
Well, let me start with that one. I think you're quite right. There are many hands around. There's some important people and some not so important people, but there's a big team there. And I think just to go back to encouraging people to join and become members, if they only want to sing, that's perfectly okay. But if they want to get more involved and take part in helping outside, organising on committees, then there's that opportunity as well. We have our two musical directors, John and Sue Horrocks, who is the leader of the choir. And we have various other committees, Graham's committee in particular, who are organising the events and things like that. But we also have people beyond that as well we need some financial help. We do try our best to pay our way. It's not always easy. Rents, as we all know, are quite high, and there's a limited number of performances we can do each year. So we do reach out on occasions to sponsors, and I'd have to say on this particular occasion, Ireland Heritage have very kindly agreed to sponsor this particular concert. We are most grateful to them. They have been sponsors in the past in other things that we've done, so we do look upon them as an extension of our team. And I think, Graham, you would comment also on the Jake Scott.
Yes, there are other people. Jake Scott have agreed to sponsor the bar, which helps us to make more money to refresh people before and during the interval. So thank you to Jake Scott. Two other professional organisations I'd like to thank who help us. UCCI have a film department, and we reached out to them and asked them if they would film the concert for us with all their professional equipment. The sound equipment is particularly important. I think they're bringing 6 cameras and 4 microphones and so on, and they're going to produce the 30-minute film for us, so we can take snippets and use it to promote on Facebook and social media generally, because we've lacked that in the past. We'd have liked to have brought some music for you to play today, but we don't have the quality material, the facilities, resources to be able to record music of that quality. So UCC are going to produce this film with excellent quality, and we're very, very grateful to them. Appreciate their help very much indeed. We've also got help from another professional, Janet Jarko, who is the wife of one of our choir members, Nick Dixie. She's a professional photographer, and she's going to come and take a lot of photographs of the event, which all for free, which will help us in our future publicity. So we're very grateful to these people.
See, many hands, not only make light work, but, make the sale that much more smoother. And so important.
I think we found that. I think in the past, concerts have been put on and people have scrambled around, and some people have done an enormous amount of work and been pulled apart in doing so. And what we're endeavouring to do now in the last few months is to make sure we have an organisation that will support these wonderful musicians. They always put on a great musical concert, but we want to try and make sure they don't have to worry about the support coming up behind. They don't have to worry about making ends meet so we can pay the bills and things like that. So we're trying to put together an organisation that will carry the choir forward, not just on the musical side, but on the organisational and regulatory side. We're a not-for-profit organisation, so we have to do certain filings and reporting, etc., like everybody else, just to make sure that we are heading in the right direction. Because when we were talking about dreams before, we all have some dreams, and certainly Sue Horrocks, our choir master or leader, has this dream that one day all of these musical groups here on the island might be able to go forward to find or build a concert hall with the right sort of acoustics, and we keep our fingers crossed. Such things have happened before in the National Gallery and Jasmine and other things. So
dream more while you are awake. I think we'll see the success. It's going to be exciting. Jonathan, I can only imagine not just working with the enthusiasm, the passion, but the commitment of people like Mr. Sidney and Mr. Graham must be encouraging and uplifting. So congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank
you. Well, looking forward, to you joining us again in the future. Not just sharing and celebrating, but telling us about the continued successes as well. So tickets, when we say Events Pro, or just better for one of the members, not at the gate on the evening.
We will sell tickets.
Yes. Yes,
if
provided we're not sold out. But I think that there would be, if people came along, they would be able to get a ticket.
Okay, wow.
We have a maximum number at the Harkwell of 300, as you know, so that would be the only limitation.
All right, well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Always worth getting your tickets in advance. It's just so many people sometimes don't get into our events because it's full. Elmsley, for example, in the past at Elmsley Church, when we do our 2 nights at Elmsley, people have just had to walk away because there's no room at the inn.
No room at the inn.
So,
best to buy a ticket.
Honestly, it's best to buy a ticket because there's so many people that are like, I couldn't get to that event, or I couldn't get in, or I missed it, or
but it saves time too.
Definitely get there.
Eventpro.ky. That's where you get the tickets.
Well, thank you very much.
And thank you very much indeed for hosting us today and giving us this opportunity to talk about Cayman National Choir and Orchestra.
Yeah, thanks very much, Dwayne.
It's a pleasure, sir. Just reach out to us anytime. We're glad. And I'm grateful that more and more people would come, whether they're new to the island, whether they've been here for the last 100 years, and they just go, hey, I'm finally going to retire a bit and enjoy it. Well, thanks very much.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Have a wonderful rest of the afternoon. May the concert be a wonderful success. Day. All right, let's pause and take a break. Who is going to be the first one to call Miss Susan and ask her what you need to be asking? Well, let's see. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Spread the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news. Access.
Local, regional, international, this is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
We begin with the latest on the fire at the Georgetown landfill, where firefighters are working to reduce smoke in the area and lessen its impact on local residents. DEH continue to excavate the site so fire crews can dampen the area. The fire service says more favorable weather conditions are expected today, which should help in the effort to put out the fire. The Cayman Islands Fire Service, Department of Environmental Health, and Royal Cayman Islands Police Service remain on site. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, President Xi Jinping has visited the city of Wuhan, the center of the coronavirus outbreak, sending a message that Beijing has the situation under control. His visit comes as China recorded its lowest number of infections, just 19 on Tuesday. Just 19 today, all in Wuhan, apart from 2 who had arrived from overseas. China has seen 80,754 confirmed cases, 3,136 of whom have died. And pop star Billie Eilish delivered a powerful message about body shaming as she kicked off her world tour in Miami on Monday night. The 18-year-old has previously said she wears baggy clothes to avoid being sexualized and addressed criticism of that choice during a video interlude. She said, "If what I wear is comfortable, I am not a woman. If I shed the layers, I get called derogatory names. Though you've never seen my body, you still judge me for it. Why?" she asked. The 2-minute video was played towards the end of Eilish's 22-song set, immediately before the song All the Good Girls Go to Hell. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Start getting your debt under debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Puritan Cleaners.
Puritan Cleaners, serving the Cayman Islands for over 60 years. Now offering 12% off ladies and gents wearing apparel, $20 and up prepaid, or 10% off pickup within 7 days. All household items standard 10% off prepaid. This offer good at all our stores until further notice. Savannah Countryside, Elgin Avenue, Georgetown, Eastern Avenue, Georgetown, 949-7104. Drive through, rain or shine. A great special. You feel good when you look good.
It's the 8th annual Dress for Culture Day on Friday, March 13th. Celebrate Cayman's multicultural community by displaying your homeland pride and cultural dress. Your Dress Up, Dress Down donation of just $5 per adult and $3 per student goes towards the National Cultural Foundation's youth programs. Visit the @Cayman Culture Facebook and Instagram pages for more information on how you can win a prize for showing your national pride. Open to all schools, businesses, and individuals. Dress for Culture Day, part of K-Fest 2020, brought to you by CNCF. Email cncf@artscayman.org or call 949-5477 for more information.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Going to be so open line here now on Talk Today as we invite you to share your thoughts with us. And I do recognize that many of us, thankfully, not only because they are our family and our friends and our neighbors and our co-workers, are related or married, somehow connected to, or they were former or schoolmates. But in and of itself, even if we don't know anything about them, we know that they're literally, in the line of fire. So all of the firefighters in particular and the supporting cast from the RCIPS, the DEH and the others, if it's, at all, we can say thank you. I know that many in the public have already showed great appreciation, not just deference, not just a saying that they've, very, very much grateful for all that the service. It's not that they're doing their job. That's not it. Then that's not just that they're doing their job with the utmost competence and commitment. It's the fact that we realize how important it is for us, and so for what it's worth, as the firefighters are there, those who are continuing to keep them safe, to hold them up in prayer, to be supporting cast. Perhaps it's making sure that, when they come in for a rest, that they can get a rest. Perhaps it's because, we're ensuring they're properly hydrated and nourished and the like. It just shows that the commitment and respect that the country still can draw upon. It's a wonderful thing. Now, equally, as you may wish to weigh in, and you can get as politically charged as you wish, you can be as pensive as you want, you can be, willing to look down the road and be as prophetic. You may decide, hey, it's now time for, and you can share your thoughts. Let's use the opportunities that are before us in order to propel us into a better realm. So we invite you to share your thoughts, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Now, as many obviously understood the frustrations, perhaps many sat and hopefully, despite being so frustrated, for want of a better word, still exhibited a sign of patience, a sign of civility, and we sat in traffic 3 hours, maybe 5 hours, maybe a journey that should only have been, for some of us, 15 minutes, half an hour, perhaps end up being 4 or 5 hours. But at the end of the day, being safe, being cognizant, this is at this stage, challenging, and to some extent, perhaps something that we may encounter if we're not careful. It may not necessarily be another fire at the dump. What if it is something else and something even more, severe? So with that, I had an opportunity. I guess we have to be sort of responsive to requests. We also have to be prepared to change course sometimes. A fella said to me, it's like the football coach who has decided that a particular game plan would be the one that she wants to employ for her team. But as she gets on the field and realizes, hey, this other team is now taking a different strategy, the game plan isn't going to work if they want to win, they need to make a reassessment. At the half, they might be, 1 or 2 goals down, or they might still be at an even, 1-1. And in order to pull off the victory, because they needed 3 points, they need to come back to the drawing board and devise a new strategy going forward. Well, sometimes that's how it is. We need to be responsive. We need to be flexible. We need to be able to change our tactics. Siddhat to share that earlier, got invited to listen to some individuals who were of the view that, unfortunately, it is, this is my word as I sort of take away from what was shared. Do you remember hearing, the saying, lead, follow, or get out of the way? Well, these individuals earlier, as they were sharing, eloquence, respect, a sense of graciousness, hospitality, a sense of diplomacy, until one said, listen, we can beat around the bush, but sometimes it's, and again, I'll insert my word, leadership, lack of leadership, perhaps ineffective leadership, perhaps not sufficient, commitment to a particular cause, perhaps not sufficient unity in the approach. But as he was sharing, he says, the country is now facing what for some may be unprecedented challenges, but is really anything different than we may have seen in our history. Go back, he said, to Hurricane Ivan. The devastation was bad, but it was not as worse, as some have experienced. It certainly wasn't as bad as could have been, and perhaps part of that is that there was, for a very short time, a concerted effort by many. Now, it may be that those in a particular area were more quickly able to mobilize and clear the debris to allow access. It could be because the structure of our buildings, the foundation, the integrity was such that we didn't see and experience the same level of consequence. But yet, It wasn't that the buildings fell that caused a significant loss or cost. It was the flooding that came thereafter. Now our response is to elevate our buildings more. Perhaps as we look at building in the future, we may have to consider certain things. Now we can go too far sometimes with regulation, sometimes we can go too far with the response. But he was saying, if you look at today, not only is it the issue of, well, a government, whether it's the elected government or the aspiring government, whether you call it the government of the day or the opposition, wants to either maintain its position or get into that position, whether it's with respect to the development of the cruise and cargo port, or whether it's the expansion of the airport, whether it's the challenges that may be faced by the financial sector and the economy because of international pressures relative to being on some list or the other that isn't favorable, whether it's the whole issue of, we are now faced globally with this new, we even call it novel, virus of sorts. And for some, they may not be as concerned, or at least as publicly expressive of the concern for loss of life as they are to the impact to the economy. And with that, there are others who would share, we need to look more closely at what the Cayman economy and marketplace would be. So I give us an example, two things that, hopefully this isn't inappropriate, but the sort of sole female member in the little grouping shared. She said, listen, sometimes it's not just arrogance. Sometimes it's not just, being overly ambitious. Sometimes it's not just that people are very excited about something. They perhaps are, as you would say, when we look at certain things, they become a bit overzealous. But if we had proceeded with the cruise port and we had committed to it, and now with this virus impacting travel, as it were, the airline industry perhaps facing a lot of significant losses because the fall off in travel. Cruise lines equally probably facing as much, if not the billions and billions of dollars, and potentially could be significantly reduced. The whole thing could be redrawn. If we had gone ahead and made this $1 billion commitment, what would that mean for future generations? And she shared, I think some of us can point to our parents or to our grandparents for similarly having a perspective. Make haste slowly. Don't be too eager in moving forward. Whatever the ambition, whatever the aspiration, had we gone and committed to that, not only potentially the economic consequences, the environmental consequences, the social consequences, but would we now have been positioned that whatever we have done at this point, the 10 plus million or however much has been spent, whether there's more than yet to be accounted or acknowledged publicly, but we've spent, some millions thus far to this point. What if it has been tens of millions at that point? Would it be too late? Would it be irreversible? And then she shared, look at just yesterday alone with the amount of people who were in traffic, the businesses that were closed, the other things that were impacted. Are we able, she asked, to quantify the cost to the Cayman economy? Is it in the tens of millions of dollars in lost hours because of wages that still have to be paid, the lost productivity, the lost revenues from the sales, the social costs, the different things? What about the potential that the visitors who did not enjoy the experience then shares something in this whole notion of social media, and that having a knock-on effect? And then in 2 years' time, we may not see it in a year, we may not see it, as short term as some would anticipate, but the successive administrations going forward will be impacted by it. The slowed down global economy, the knock-on consequences of everything. She asked the question, what are we doing when we talk about sustainability and resilience? When we're looking at, how the economy is going to be positioned, when we're looking at potential population growth and the ability or inability to feed the people, to source the food stuff, to get the raw materials or the building materials or all of the essential sort of resources that we would need. Now, as she shared, she's asking, just like she's required to do for her business, whereas the contingency plan comes into play. But what is the country doing? Well, if our phone lines are open, if you're available, and if you're certainly amenable, why not weigh in and share your thoughts? Not a philosophical discussion, not asking you to be overly pensive, but is this something that you believe we have considered? Is it something that you think we have overlooked to date? Is it something that you feel very, very comfortable that the country, its present and proposed leadership, its idea of more and more of us as a people can move forward with our future plans for margin or expanding our families, for future education of ourselves and our children, for that addition to our home, that new development. And as she was sharing, these are not things that we should say and share to alarm, frighten, and cause people to sort of go and hide somewhere. But it is these times that really cause us as a nation to test our mettle, to be able to exhibit a resilience, a resourcefulness. And again, as the fellow sort of at the end of the day said, are we prepared to lead, follow, or get out of the way? And when I was leaving that last discussion, I thought, well, just as was said earlier with respect to the artistic talent we have, whether it's singing or playing an instrument, there is without question incredible talent in this community, insight and experience, a resource that is sadly untapped. And unfortunately, oftentimes, when what's that game, whack-a-mole, I think someone said, you stick your head up and someone hits it down with a hammer. Well, is that what is happening? So the fear of losing friendships, we do not say anything, or someone said, well, I offered up an opinion, offered up to help, and well, got kicked in the teeth, so I'm not going to do that again. Is that where we are? And if so, if we're somehow discouraging input, commentary, constructive, and critique, are we doing not just ourselves, but our country a disservice? Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you today?
Very tired and hard a bit and doing my chores.
Amen to that. Well, I pray you get through them quickly.
I can't get through it all. Not quickly. I'm doing so much and stop.
There you
go.
I
do things. That's how I do things now.
All right.
Listen, Sterling.
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody called me, a reporter, because I had reported about a garbage truck a couple of weeks back, about 2 weeks back, I guess. Anyway, I got a report now about the same side of the road, down at the Banks Drive. It's not that same residence now. It's the one that's at the corner. When you turn coming from the gas station, from Hell gas station, they have some rental business there, right? Mm-hmm. But no, guess who they are? Not Kemanians that they rented, but they're the one that started. I've been noticing for weeks and weeks now that they've been parking one car, quite really known a parking space for the tenants. But now, because of my fruit trees in the front, if I'm on my bed and my curtains is drawn, I can see straight down to the road. So you know where I am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So okay. So I didn't notice. I noticed a man and a woman. No, let me backtrack a little bit now. I gotta rewind it now. where I was saying before, where they see there used to be one car, just like one car parked on the side there, on the opposite side of me. And there's tenants for the residents that's on the corner. But now, okay, I've been noticing where now last weekend, because it is Tuesday already. It was last weekend I noticed a man putting a battery into one of the cars that he was driving. But now because of the fruit trees, I couldn't see any further down where he had this gray car parked, and him and then the woman came up afterwards. They left, but then here, they got in the car and they drove off. But Sterling, I went out yesterday with a friend, and this is when I'm going to see it was the same gray car parked, but now it was another one in between. Hey, the one on the end at rear corner, Sterling, they're picking it apart. They're leaving the junk right there. So I'm putting this out here now for whoever can or is like kind of to go pick up all this stuff, because they're taking from one part, from one to fix the next, So somebody comes to drag it away because it never got front wheels. It blocked up on something. I didn't even look that much to see what it was blocked up on or what it was jacked up on, but the wheels even gone from the front, at least from the side that I could see. So I just need somebody to come and do something about all this now, because down here looking like a real dump now too.
How do we get that community to be more sort of respectful? Like you said, the amount of litter, garbage is being just dumped on our roadways. I mean, it's...
And Sterling, like I say, is it the one nationality that I was talking about what was destroying our truck? I never seen that truck since, Sterling.
Huh. I
never seen that garbage truck since. The one with all the stickers on it. I never seen that since. And then here, I see who they were, what nationality they were. So these tenants is the same nationality, and these are the ones that go picking up pieces of old. They buy old cars, they break down, then they take them apart, like it's still good, to fix on another one that they buy again now. But no, this is really terrible down in this Belmont Bank Drive right in here now. So I can't see people that are driving out. They got to go on the left, on the right-hand side to be able to pass across the corner to go south.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
This needs to be taken care of and taken care of quickly. I'm hoping that some environmental or whatever is listening that can come down here and get the thing towed away, because don't make them getting more parts because no more old junk they can put up again.
Well, that's
all
right. Well, thanks very much, Mom. All right.
Thank you very much. People coming to report on now.
There you go. Well, all the best to you. Okay?
Yes, all the best to you too, Sterling.
Thank you, Mom. Yes, Mom. God bless. Well, we have one more call, Miss Susan. Welcome. Thank you very much for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Good afternoon, Cap. How are you today, sir?
Not bad at all. Yourself?
Oh, blessed and very thankful, man. I must say, giving a lot of thought to all the things that are unfolding.
Yes. I heard you with your monologue there a little while ago.
Oh boy. Did you get in trouble for it?
Yeah, of course.
Well, can only hope, eh?
Yeah, well, the thing about it is I just want to follow up in the same vein. We've long accepted that our economy is potentially a fickle one, based on both pillars, or considering the pillars of what our economy is resting on, and I think we can see the global shocks that the coronavirus, along with the dumping of the oil price by the Saudis, has done to the stock markets, and the impact the coronavirus measures or countermeasures have done to the travel industry. And of course, we've seen that the effect on travel industry because of events far away from Cayman, we have seen before during the first Gulf War, where Americans, who still make up, I think, about 80% of our tourist numbers, stopped traveling for a while. And At that time, of course, I was still at Cayman Airways, and we ended up in a situation where we actually had to return some new aircraft for older models because it was no longer affordable to fly those expensive new aircraft around for free, without passengers, I meant to say. So, coming back to the basic point of the fickleness of our economy, when events like we are experiencing now can have a significant impact, and what kind of resilience we have to survive these kind of things, to take advantage of the good times when they come back. Because if you're flat on your back when things go bad, it's very difficult to then be in a position to move ahead when the conditions recover. So, coming back to the major projects that have been undertaken by, in recent times, the infrastructure projects such as we're talking about the airport, and we're talking about the potential port and the schools, and of course the ongoing infrastructure that is required with roadworks, etc., can place an inordinate burden on the country's resources and spare resources. So the question becomes for, in my opinion, the elected members or the leaders of the community in any event, how much of the country's resources should be committed to existing projects. Because if we were to have a prolonged period of slowing in business, both on both sides, on the financial side and on the tourism side, what are our alternatives?
Mm-hmm.
Because who now, given our current situation, which Caymanians can go abroad, and how many of it do send back their earnings to keep their families going, as it was done in years past? I think more and more we have focused on the opportunities that are available on the island for the young people. Unfortunately, a significant percentage of those that are not in the top 10% in with school grades, etc., they have not been as fortunate in securing incomes that would sustain them in difficult times. And we have imported a lot of people that have skills which we wouldn't be able to do without, even if the economy were not as rosy as it has been. So I really think it is a good thing to think about the kind of situation
Mm-hmm.
where you have to be in a position where you have to rely on the reserves, and I'm not sure that we always do that.
Mm-hmm. As I listen to you, I was thinking something. It's in a relation to farming in particular, and the person was sharing. We've almost come full circle. So way back when we had the grounds, you can call them different things, and people, because of health, maybe because of it's a trendy, they now have these things. We call them different little things, but it's basically the same. You go back for health reasons, you go back for whatever, and you have this farmers market, this ground. With that similar analogy, do you think then that this economy, given the relative size of the island, the relative size of the population, not the financial measure of the trillions of dollars that's supposed to flow in and through the economy, but is it not possible, or even perhaps easier, for us to be a little bit more responsive to things, a little more receptive to what is happening, a little bit more self-sufficient, perhaps?
Well, I wouldn't it's certainly a noble endeavor to try and achieve self-sufficiency to the degree possible. But let's take, so right now we're talking a population of around in the high 60s.
Let's round it off to 100,000. Make it easy to compare.
All right. Okay, now what would the population be if the economy were to go south for, let's say, a year? Would we say that the population is reduced to half of what we have? Because certainly a lot of people, if they couldn't earn a living here, they would have to leave.
Okay.
And I'm talking about expat population, of course. Now, in other countries, that would be automatic. I mean, as soon as a person that is not a permanent resident is unable to earn a living, they would be asked to go back where they come from or seek greener pasture somewhere else.
Okay, so let me just, don't lose your train, but just for clarity. So you're saying then that reduction population would come about not because the people who are here, subject to immigration control, the work permit, that they would necessarily choose to leave. It would be because they would be asked to leave either by the employer or by government. Listen, there's no work for you, so out. Is that, just for clarity, is that what we were saying would happen?
Well, I think it would be a combination of both.
Okay.
Those that did not. I mean, there are people here that would rather be, for the want of a better term, they would rather starve here than where they come from.
Yeah, as opposed to, better to punish your own country than in another man's.
Right.
Okay.
But
and
in that situation, then it would fall on the authorities to apply the requisite measures to repatriate those people that could no longer be carried.
Okay.
So I think we would have a fairly significant reduction in population. But even then, having said that, I am still wondering if our land resources are such that would allow us to feed ourselves. In all honesty, I seriously doubt it.
Right.
Now, not only from how should I say, because of what our diet consists of, but in pure quantity alone. And I'm thinking of places like Israel, where back in the early days of the kibbutzes, they had to design interesting mechanisms to have agriculture flourishing in areas where prior was desert, and the whole thing with drip irrigation and all that, was used there to try and produce food for their own people. But I think much of our land here has a very high salt content and is certainly difficult to farm with machinery. Most of it would have to be farmed by hand, and while I think in times of need we would have the people to do that, I'm not sure if the productivity could be raised to the point to where you could feed the population without significant imports.
But a lot of our arable land has already been developed in concrete, parking lots, what have you. So then, if I may ask, and I thank Ms. Susan for allowing us to have a conversation, and I'm mindful of our break, but if I may then ask of you from that perspective, the reduction in our population, whether it's a 10% or 50%, whatever the range is, as we reduce that population, any idea, if you wish to even speculate, as to the nature of that? Will that be people in the hospitality sector, the financial sector? Who do you think would leave? We presumably it will be those on work permit subject to immigration control. But where do you think that reduction would come from? The hospitality sector first, because more likely that's going to affect it. The financial services sector, the real estate sector, the construction sector. What do you think?
Well, exactly what you said. It would just depend in what manner that the reduction in the economic activity would come about. If we, let's face it, if our financial industry were to be, for the want of a better word, shut down, right, the offshore industry, well, I'm sure there would be a significant reduction of high earners in that sector, because they would simply, what would the reason be for them to remain here unless they already have security of tenure, and then they would have to become farmers. So I think automatically they would say, well, I'll hold on to my house here, but I'm going to go to
greener pastures.
Yeah, exactly. The same thing would happen. The same thing would happen in the tourism in the hospitality industry, where you have a high significance of people on even short-term permit, because it seemed to be the favorite mode of employment to have people on a 6-month permit and then change them out or replace them with others. So if a fairly large establishment would have to be shut down, they certainly wouldn't carry the people out of the goodness of their heart. We don't.
It's a business.
We don't see the goodness of their heart now, much less if things go bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that, man. Anything else you want to share?
No.
All right.
My lunch break is over.
Well, you're giving us some food for thought. I'll pick up on a couple of things. I'll even may ask, could it be like the phoenix rising from the ashes? I don't know. All right.
All is possible.
All is possible. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
All right. Have a great afternoon. You're going to pause. We're going to take a break. I'll tell you what, I don't know about you, but my view is great. I look through, this wonderful window that is double glass pane into a studio with a very diligent, dedicated, committed member of the civil service who's at the boards making things work, like so many of our team here within the civil service. So call, share your thoughts, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Hey, don't be afraid to mix it up, Don't be afraid to say, listen, I'm 100% behind this government. Or, don't say that I said it, but you know what? Time for a leadership change and whatever. I mean, mix it up. It's our country now. We need to be civil, responsible, respectful. But there's nothing wrong with having a difference of opinion as long as we're constructive and we can do things. You don't need to pick up arms and march in the street. You don't even need to have a placard. You just need to be willing to respect your voice and the voice of others. So let's hear from you. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
At Canine Resort and Spa, your dog gets the red carpet treatment. That's why people trust us and pets love us. Offering doggy daycare, boarding, training, and grooming services for any breed, size, or style. From head to tail, we'll make your dog smile.
Choose from 4 grooming packages. From the basic bronze package of a hydrobath, shampoo and conditioner, wash and blowout, to the platinum package including spa services like a doggy massage and berry facial. Canine will help your pet look picture perfect. Receive a loyalty card where your 6th grooming package is free. Limited availability.
Visit canineresort.com for details on grooming packages, doggy daycare, and resort services. Canine Resort and Spa, where the posh dogs go.
Wow, looks good. What is that?
Chicken chair.
What did you just say to me?
Chicken chair.
I am not a chicken
Whoa! I said chicken share. It's from KFC. Bucket of 12 hot wings, 6 pieces of chicken, or 8 tenders. KFC chicken share. Just $12 each.
Oh.
Want some chicken, tenders, or hot wings?
You're sharing your chicken share with me?
The new chicken share from KFC. Just $12 each. And it's finger-licking good. Dine at KFC Baytown Plaza, KFC Shedden Road, or KFC at the Strand.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Radio Cayman News.
It's just gotten really big. There's black smoke covering the roads. You can see it from all over Georgetown.
I'm working with RCIPS to assist with evacuation.
School will resume once the fire has abated and the smoke is no longer a hazard.
I would like to commend all of the emergency services who have been involved in battling the landfill fire.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Your loose change may not seem like much right now, but we know that it does add up to a lot once you put it all together. Last year, the Meals on Wheels Change for Change coin drive raised enough to provide over 6,000 nutritious hot meals to some of the most vulnerable members of our country, our seniors. We seek your generous donations once again as we aim to continue to serve over 50,000 meals per year. Please gather up your loose change, empty your coin jar, or whatever amount you can afford to donate when you see Meals on Wheels volunteers stationed around Grand Cayman on March 27th and 28th. Join Cayman Islands Meals on Wheels, Davenport Development, and Radio Cayman in the fight to end senior hunger in the Cayman Islands. Visit mealsonwheels.ky to learn more.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us. It is open line. We invite you to call and share your thoughts. Please don't be alarmed. Everybody's connected and interconnected, and but we have received a statement from the Jamaican Ministry of Health and Wellness issued today, confirming sadly their first case of the coronavirus, and the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness in Jamaica issued a statement. Statement reads that the patient is a Jamaican female who had traveled from the United Kingdom. I got it here, and she has it. It says that she... Is there a call online, Miss Susan? Oh, okay, sorry. It's making sure that I pay attention to her. She's not that far away, but sometimes if I don't look up, I won't see. So we were sharing that today the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness in Jamaica confirmed his first imported case of coronavirus disease 2019, the COVID-19 in Kingston. Says the patient is a Jamaican female who traveled from the United Kingdom. She arrived in Jamaica on March the 4th, presented to the public health system on the 9th, and has been in isolation since then. They said that based on the patient's travel history and symptoms, the health professionals suspected there was coronavirus. A clinical sample was collected and sent for testing, and the laboratory test confirmed the diagnosis today in Jamaica at approximately 11 a.m. Said that they've advised the patient and the family members. Now, the patient's infection was travel-related. Steps were taken to prevent the risk of community spread, including dispatching a health team to the home of the patient for assessment and initiation of public health measures, also identifying and contact tracing for all of the possible exposed people, and then meeting of the health ministry officials with members of the staff at the hospital, and the necessary interventions were put in place. And now they say that in addition, they imposed travel restrictions remain in place, but they also added 3 additional countries to the list. So in addition to China, Italy, South Korea, Singapore, and Iran that were previously made public, they now also impose travel restrictions to Spain, to France, and to Germany. They've doing a number of things, and including to say that they're discouraging public gatherings. Non-essential travel is discouraged. They're patrolling irregular border crossings, sensitizing key personnel at all the air and sea ports, and designated 4 quarantine facilities, and possibly will attempt to identify others. Finalizing the retrofitting of isolation facilities in each of Jamaica's public hospitals. So there is great concern, and I think as we look at it, we're recognizing that it doesn't matter where and when. The notion is that we are a connected people, and as large as we think the world is, as grown as the population has become, we all know somebody somewhere who's been somewhere, who's had some connection to somebody else. So in addition to, certainly for those who subscribe to prayer, certainly taking action and necessary precautions. Stay 3 feet away from people, or if you speak it in a different language, 1 meter. Try your best not to be offended. I'm trying to get there. I'm being reminded you don't need to shake hands with everybody. It's no offense if you just pull back for a while. We're seeing not just in other jurisdictions, but now we hear that Jamaica saying, hey, let's discourage. They haven't banned, but let's discourage public gatherings. There are a lot of things that will come as a result. And naturally, there are those who will be concerned about the impact on the economics. How is the economy? Am I going to make any money? Are we going to be able to go out? Well, perhaps washing our hands properly, perhaps looking at things and being, again, considerate. I don't know if it was like this way, for some of you, but for some of us, a family member gave birth to a newborn, and you didn't take the baby out and about all over the place. You didn't go around the child until a certain time. When you did, you kind of got cleaned up. You were. Doesn't mean that was 50,000 years ago when things weren't as advanced, But it made good sense. It was perhaps not just a traditional practice, but it probably made good sense because, as our older people say, well, you don't want to go take germs around the baby. Well, perhaps those old things that we did back then, maybe now we see the sense. Like I was trying to reflect on earlier. A fellow said, look at the way we approach farming, backyard gardening, whatever we call it. Some of us grew up as a chore. We had to go and prepare the ground. We had to go out and do certain things. Some were, more amenable to it, perhaps adapted much more quickly, much easier than our siblings or our extended families. But we did it. Now we come back to do that because, well, it's novel. Perhaps it's, the trend thing to do. Perhaps we take it to be healthier, whatever the reason. But perhaps it's also necessary, just like it was then. And back to the gentleman who called earlier, his input is always welcome. His certainly advice and comments always prove to be invaluable. But are we now at a point where in our society that as we look at things, is there more that we can and should be doing? Now, there are some who are going to hear and going to take it, oh boy, that's going to mean this or going to mean that. Well, I'm grateful for the opportunity sometimes to not just be invited to listen to the comments of some, but to be asked, well, can you somehow parlay this into a conversation to see if it gains an attraction? Some listen and will respond. Sadly, we're not a people who are prepared yet to say and do in a way that we sort of stand behind it. Maybe because we become quickly identified. Maybe because when we say and do, no matter how good it is, we may somehow be seen as associated with this thing. Now, it's easier to hide what we think, behind the screen and seemingly appear to be anonymous. But have you ever looked sometimes at some of the comments by some people? And even though it may say anonymous, somewhere, in the comment, somebody references the name of somebody else. Now, how is it that they know that was that person that wrote it and maybe it's because I don't pay great attention to it. I just want to hear the comment. Doesn't matter if it was Jean or Peter or Paul or Mary that said it. This was the comment that was said. And I have to go back and go, well, I hear John saying this. And I'm looking, I don't see where this was signed by John. But somehow one or two comments thereafter relates to the comments, oh, John, that's you again. Maybe there's something that they can see that I don't, or maybe they're looking more closer than I do. But maybe it is too that we're too, much interested in who's saying as opposed to what is being said, so we can critique and not get caught up in the personality, but more focused on the principle of the thing, the merit or lack sometimes thereof. Having said that, though, it certainly has precluded many of us from sharing. Now, as I go back to the comments this morning, and two individuals, the lady, as she shared, maybe because she is the sole member, making a point that sometimes she feels, what is it they say? A man works from sun to sun, but a woman's work is never done. Maybe, as she said, it's International Women's Day, and she's feeling more empowered, and she feels that she has to, be able to demonstrate that she can stand toe to toe. Or maybe it's because she says, look around. Yes, there were certainly iron men on wooden ships, but everybody credits and recognizes, thankfully, that it was the women who remained, who not only kept the home fires burning, but made things, get constructed and built, and as it were. So it is time that we step into our own. But she shared, sometimes, we're too polite. We don't want to say anything, and perhaps it takes, the woman to remind us of the importance of standing in the gap. But as she shared, if we're looking at things and we're not willing to, be held accountable, or to hold others accountable, or to step up and take on the responsibility, then what is the point in, my word, beating up your gums? Now, she said it differently, but perhaps as I speak to us, maybe we'll appreciate what is shared. And she says, if we look at a elected government, whether it's those, in the government, or whether it's those in election as the opposition, otherwise, the 19 are the people that we have elected. We need them to do the very best. We need them to achieve the greatest success, because it is a reflection on all of us. But if it is a case that they're not performing, and that's because we are not assisting, then we can't blame them. If it's a case that they don't have the resources, financial otherwise, and we're not willing to deploy it, then can we blame them? But if it's a case that they're afraid to act because, they may prove unpopular and they may lose a seat, but it's the right thing to do, really, we need to get with the program. All right, Ms. Susan, it's a break we got to take. I tell you, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
At Canine Resort and Spa, your dog gets the red carpet treatment. That's why people trust us and pets love us. Offering doggy daycare, boarding, training, and grooming services for any breed, size, or style. From head to tail, we'll make your dog smile.
Choose from 4 grooming packages, from the basic bronze package of a Hydro Bath shampoo and conditioner, wash and blowout, to the platinum package including spa services like a doggy massage and berry facial. K9 will help your pet look picture perfect. Receive a loyalty card where your 6th grooming package is free. Limited availability.
Visit K9Resort.com for details on grooming packages, doggy daycare, and resort services. K9 Resort and Spa, where the posh dogs go.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Afternoon. Welcome back to Talk. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Thank you to Miss Susan for helping us here. As we go to our phones, welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Sterling Dwayne, number one, you Kingston.
Good afternoon to you, sir. It's been a while we haven't heard from you. I hope you're good.
Well, I tell you what, I had a good trip to New Kingston.
Anything time you're here is always good, sir.
And I tell you what, I enjoyed that. Even though I couldn't walk around good, but I enjoyed good round.
All right. I'm glad to hear that, sir. Glad to hear that.
And I got my good HTB and my good DRG.
Welcome aboard, sir. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, so what's going on with you?
On a personal level, everything and anything, but all good, thank God. What about with you? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my leg is just getting weaker, that's all.
Say again?
My leg is getting weaker.
Oh, man. Sorry to hear that.
I'm not joking, and I'm not looking sympathy.
No. We realize that, and I'm sincere. I know I'm glad that you're so courageous to share with us, so that as a people we start to appreciate that. There are things that are transpiring in our lives for different reasons, because of different circumstances, and we just need to be mindful that people, they have sometimes a different path than our own, and we need to be cognizant and respectful.
Yeah, well, there's one thing about me what's happen, I'm going to tell you straight.
Yes, sir. We appreciate that. Wish more people would that be.
I know that's why you don't like me too much, but I tell you.
You see where you're going now. Well, you sure enough for West Bay?
No, listen.
Yes, sir.
You make sure you don't trouble that lady there.
I can promise you I won't trouble her, but I may give her a hard time.
Well, look here. The day you do that, I'm going to call the manager and tell him just as you.
Let me give her your number.
She haven't done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But tell us about the BRAC now. What's happening over there? I mean, how are things? If it's okay, I don't want you to be insensitive, but I know here in Grand Cayman, people are alarmed, perhaps a bit fearful, a bit concerned about everything, including, what this virus will mean for everything. How is it from your perspective? Is it the same level of fear and concern on the BRAC?
People are talking about it, but as far as I hear, I'm not worried if it's going to come. It's going to come.
Okay.
You can't stop it.
Yes, sir.
That's my feeling.
Right. That's true.
But it doesn't make no sense to sit down and take another day off in life for nothing.
What is it the scripture talks about? Why worry? Do you see the birds and the plants and the trees and the bees and the flowers and anything worrying about anything? So how are you benefit?
Right. I don't reckon that worry me. If it's going to end up, it's going to end up. But one of the two.
Yeah. Okay.
And in another couple of weeks, soon I'm going to hear about it.
You think so?
Yes.
Why do you?
Same way I had all them other diseases a couple of years ago. They just disappeared.
Okay. Well, I know we have the news, but respectfully, why do you think it's going to disappear in short order?
Watch it. Just listen, and one day I'm going to hear and you say, yes, that man from the BRAC was right.
Well, I pray that it's because, I hear you. All right.
And I hear people talking about, you must wash your hands so much and wash this and that. What's the big deal? If you're up in the house, we have to wash your hands so much, sir?
Yeah. Yeah, but I wash my hands often. I didn't realize how often I wash my hands, but it's just a practice I've had. It's probably because, when you're cooking, you wash your hands when you go to the next station, as it were. It's just how I was taught, I guess.
I understand about the station, but when it comes to the cooking, I don't need to wash for that. I can wash it after I eat.
Yeah,
me and the stove is not fair. Anytime I go to eat something and something like that, I wash my hand and then I wash my hand and clean my teeth afterwards.
Yeah, man. Likewise. Yes, sir.
Not just about everybody getting fussed about wash your hand, about everything, wash your face, everything. Yeah.
All right. Well, what else you want to share with us? I don't want to cut you, but as we go to the break, you want to hold on and we talk after?
Well, go ahead.
Okay, you hold on then. Thank you. Let's pause and take our news break. When we come back, let's continue talking to Mr. Dolan. Stay tuned.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man.
It's only 2 species that we have in Northern Ireland.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access. Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Jamaica sees its first confirmed case of COVID-19. The Minister of Health and Wellness says the patient is a Jamaican woman who recently visited the United Kingdom. She arrived in Jamaica on March 4th and went to the public health officials on March 9th. Based on her travel history and symptoms, doctors suspected COVID-19 and her test results came back today positive for the virus. The patient remains in isolation. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has announced 1 mile coronavirus containment zone around a community north of New York City. New Rochelle has seen probably the largest cluster of U.S. cases, Mr. Cuomo said at a news conference today. The state will deploy National Guard troops to clean schools in the city and deliver food to any quarantined individuals. New York State has 173 active coronavirus cases, the most in the U.S. And a man from London has become the second person in the world to be cured of HIV, doctors say. Adam Castileo is still free of the virus more than 30 months after stopping antiretroviral therapy. He was not cured by the HIV drugs, however, but by a stem cell treatment he received for a cancer he also had, the Lancet HIV Journal reports. In 2011, Timothy Brown, the Berlin patient, became the first person reported as cured of HIV 3.5 years after having similar treatment. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. It's open line. Are you still there, Mr. Dolan?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for listening.
I never hang up on you, do I?
I'll tell you what, I know some of us have a lot of hang-ups, but man, you always stay on. So thank you, sir.
Yes. Well, listen, this morning, another talk show, I listen to all of them.
Good for you. Thank you.
But I heard somebody come on, and as far as I could understand, because it just had a confined radio guy here, not home, they said something about government want to get the pop. They said about 110,000. I've got 70 now.
You think?
Right?
Yeah. Do you think we only have 70, or do you think we have more?
Well, I think it's more.
Okay, so
I think it's more, but the public don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's my feeling. So, government, if you're hearing me, tough luck. I said, right now on the roads down here in Grand Cayman, because I'm right here. I haven't gone back up yet. I have to go to the doctor tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's a heck of a thing to get around here.
Well, yeah.
Especially when them ships is in, I'm going to tell you that.
It is difficult, but I mean, what do we do?
Well, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
Just say, okay, that's it. If you walk, you get your time, you go back. Don't build up the population to stay.
True, eh?
Don't build it a permanent thing to keep rising. Leave it at a certain level, and that's it.
What would that level be, though?
Well, if you want to leave it as it is now, okay, go ahead. Don't make no trouble, no one.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it as it, but stop this building up. It go fall down one day right in your face.
But okay, let me then ask then. You're assuming that you're an elected government, and you're looking at the economy, looking at the way things are structured. In order to get your revenues, we realize that we base a lot of our income or revenue or taxes on development, on construction. So the more people that I hear on permit, we get fees. The more people that are consuming their taxes, the more the better, it would seem like. How do you tell the government, hey, more is actually less, and as opposed to too much is not enough?
According to what I've been hearing, they got enough now.
Mm-hmm.
They got enough. The government, according to what they say, when I listen to what do you call it? Sorry, assembly, and different things on the radio.
Right.
They got their backbone. And I said, don't crack it.
Well,
because sometimes you just hear it, it go plump, 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 it's gone.
I hear you, and sometimes when people like you are saying things that need to be said, some of us don't want to hear it because it will, go against what maybe we thought, or what we were taught, or what we, have committed to for whatever reason. So now to take a different course, we could be seen as backtracking, we could be seen as capitulating, as it were. So
you don't have to be backtracking, so you have a line to go ahead and you have a line to stop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you get, if they want to do something, Moses Corner, Juliana Corner, Alden McLaughlin, everyone on the house, try and send a couple more ships to the back and get them 4 taxi drivers on the back something to do. That's what they need to do. And let the people know what will be happening. You'll have more brackle working. There might be liquor stores and different things to sell on island crossing.
Right. All right. Well, appreciate it. Anything else you want to share, sir?
No, I just hope they heard that.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And I ain't afraid to say it so they can come.
There you go.
Because I tell you what, this is not one man. I drink black coffee, not a cup of tea. Okay?
There you go, sir.
Okay, you all have a good day. And remember what I told you about that lady. Any more reports, and you're going to be in trouble.
You go right ahead, sir. You take care of yourself. You know what? We have a blessed people. Let's take one more call, though. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today. Okay. Well, sometimes, people, as we said earlier, we understand people's lives are hectic and extremely busy. So much so sometimes that we can't be able to get to enjoy the things that we want, even when we want to. Now, it's open line. The phone lines are available to you if you want to call and share your thoughts. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. As we shared with you, as you heard at the top of the hour from our excellent news team, I say sadly, unfortunately, prayerfully, the Jamaican Ministry of Health and Wellness has confirmed its first case of the coronavirus, a Jamaican female, returning home. And it seems that perhaps here, as we listen to our public health officials or physicians or our own ministry, that it would appear inevitable that it may reach our shores as well. Now, let's not panic, but is there something that we can do to help ourselves? Let's each assess our own situations, and are we able and willing to accept individual responsibility? We see, for instance, companies like our own country or government sort of suspending non-essential travel. Now, I know a number of you have said, but wait a minute, if it wasn't essential to begin with, why are you traveling? Now, we can get into that and so on. But perhaps it's just an unfortunate choice of words. Perhaps this whole scenario, like anything else, you'll see some making light of it. Not to downplay its seriousness, not that they don't accept that this, can result in a loss of life and, not at all considering the economic consequences. But sometimes in an attempt to look at something from a somewhat less serious, a more humorous perspective, maybe we can find ways that work. I'll give you as an example. We see, I'm sure, if I've seen it, everybody has seen it, the little joke that goes about that this thing now has turned out to be a blessing in disguise because, the gentleman is saying, well, my wife no longer goes out shopping, she doesn't do this. This has become a deferred savings plan. We see now, as a consequence, companies and individuals using technology that always was available to do meetings, as opposed to being physically in attendance. They can do it virtually. Well, maybe that'll become the norm and significant cost savings. Let's go to our phones though. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hello, Dean. How you doing?
Excellent, excellent. How about yourself?
Fine as sifted flour, brother. Yeah.
And what tough as brown cotton, as Mr. Ezra says?
As strong as brown cotton, like Ezra Miller said.
There you go, sir. There you go. Good to hear from you.
Oh, man, I don't think you're going to like it, what I got to say, my friend.
Sir,
diseases spread from poor sections of any community, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that?
Tell us.
No, I mean, reading history.
Uh-huh.
How many poor people you know doctors?
Very few, eh?
How many doctors do you know are poor?
That came from poor beginnings and got their medical degree? Very few, huh?
Yeah, but after they get the degree, are they poor? No, but they know how to guard against things because they know where they come from. That's a problem what it started, right? And I've been talking about, trade, commerce is one of the most serious things in the world, right? Do you know that you think the businessmen worry about who dying? They worry about that their business can make money.
That seems to be the unfortunate thing, yeah.
Are we on the right page now?
Sadly, more people are concerned about their the impact to their wallets, as it were, than they are to the loss of life. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know that on our rule of law, how we dealing that we can't deal with Cuba, we can't deal with Honduras, they reckon things, because through England, or the trade agreement with the European, trading directly out of Jamaica to make the money. Now, the marijuana trade is one of the oldest trade in the world, you know that.
That opium, yeah, I mean, it's been around a while.
Yeah, it comes from Asia.
Mm-hmm.
And the smartest people in the world come from there. The Chinese. That's where the disease comes from. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You understand where it's coming from now?
I listen to you.
All right. Did you read what the Jamaica Minister of Health said? I think he put it out on the 5th of February.
Yeah.
That he said, if it's hit Jamaica, and it's going to hit Jamaica. He estimated, conservative, it will be 1.7 million people affected in Jamaica.
And what's the size of their population?
I don't know the population. I can only tell you what he said.
Right.
That 1.7 might even be registered. Hello?
I'm listening to you.
Be nice to your friend. And the police not going into, look at them. When they start dying in like Haiti, nobody not going in there, not the poor areas.
Like unfortunately the Bahamas with the hurricane last, huh?
Okay, yeah. Now, we get down to the commerce now, namely the marijuana. The Cayman Island is important, whether we like it or not. Over $5 million a year in weed. Way over that. That's just from Jamaica. So you see it coming from Miami, Colombia, all over. Now, Sterling, I don't know how old you is. I'm 61. When we used to smuggle ganja, it just ganja we dependent. And when the market got lucrative, the Jamaican bring it themselves. Along with Cayman, and they bring illegals. You know the first person that got shot in the Cayman Islands by police was a convicted murderer. And he got it when he come back Cayman. He was living in Cayman for over 2-3 years. And they shot him dead. So tell me something now, my friend. If he had coronavirus, you know how much people were going to get spread? Because nobody not talking what's wrong with him, Nobody not saying nothing. So, I got to say that to say this. You see, I'm not fighting against what God put on this green earth. Put man in prison for it. But they say, mind just lick you with diseases. And I know it coming. And I told Mo, I told all of them, I hope it kill every Caymanian over 50 years old. Have a nice day.
Wow. Well, thanks very much for sharing that. And we have a final break to take, Ms. Susan. Well, let's massage what he's shared. Let's meditate on it. And when we come back, let's see if we can add a little stew. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
If your business is over here, but your customers are over here, adding more yellow to your business will bring you both right here. With everyone searching yellows, print, online, and mobile app, getting your business noticed is easier than ever. Book your consultation today at findyellow.com.
Imagine if we all practice safe driving. Imagine if we all refused single-use plastic. Imagine if we all turned off lights when not in use. We can all do our part in making Cayman Islands safer, cleaner, and greener. Together, we can achieve. Visit gov.ky/safer, cleaner, greener to learn more.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037 1-800-534 8255 or WhatsApp 925-3261 and share your thoughts with us. Now, with respect to the whole discussion, perhaps dominating many conversations, not just here in our own country, but across many jurisdictions, the idea of the coronavirus from, as the caller shared, the impact economically on the various sectors of the economy. We're seeing travel, not just the airlines, but the cruise ships. We're seeing the notion that a cruise ship 1 week and then can't pull back into port, and somewhere out there in no man's land, as it were, we're seeing people being quarantined, we're seeing all sorts of things transpiring, and then sadly, like it or not, it's probably has instilled a great fear in many people, not just the fear of traveling and interacting and socializing, but perhaps even psychological fear. Is that going to cause them to maybe become less and less engaged with the populace? So what, if any, is that knock-on consequence? Caller prior, offered up the perspective that, like many other things that came on the scene and scared people for a while, and we had a lot of public discussion, and the public health officials, the physicians and the others brought forward very helpful, timely ways to respond. Will this too go likewise? Or will it be, as some have seen the estimates that, like the last caller shared, whether it's one jurisdiction or another, that globally the population, perhaps like the Spanish flu, perhaps like other things, could we see a significant, sadly, a reduction in the world's population? It's not about gloom and doom, it's not about being fearful, but perhaps it's equally an opportunity to be more prayerful. Perhaps it's an opportunity to be more sensitive and sensible with respect to what we do. There are a few of us who, maybe because of the interests we have, perhaps because of the organizations or the things that we're involved in, may be privy to certain things. But take as an example, if you try to see potentially some of the consequences of this, let's look at a few. We're seeing reported from China that yes, there's less travel and there are these things, but their level of emissions are down. You might say, well, that's an unfortunate way for it to occur, but for the environment, for the air quality, that's a good thing. Could we borrow that and say, well, why is that? Is there a way that going forward, if things were to normalize, that the new normal would be that we don't travel as much, that we assess and recognize that much of what we do and where we go and when we go isn't essential? As an example, after Hurricane Ivan, some of us realized that with 1 gallon of water, we could more than amply take a bath. Maybe 2 gallons, we felt great. A 5-gallon bucket, and we felt like we were in a spa. Now, some of us, we will go in the shower. Thankfully, it's probably one of the best inventions of all time. We have running water that we can adjust to the temperature that we like. We can seem to run it endlessly, and even though we are somewhat conservative, somewhat cognizant of it, and very, very, attempt to be conservative, we may run it for a long time. Soothe the aching muscles, wash away the day's stress, and we have it on for an extended period of time. Fully appreciative that we don't only need a few gallons, if we were to think back to Hurricane Ivan, for instance, but we like that luxury, that wealth, that convenience that we have. Could we now revisit how much water we're using, not because there's a drought, but because we realize how precious the resource is? Well, let's look at travel and the impact on the carbon footprint, the cost to the individual, to the country, to the economy of, well, let's not hop a plane and fly 5,000 miles. Are there things that we can do? Well, let's go to the phones. Welcome, you're on Talk Today. How are you, my friend? How are you today?
Good, man. That's man. I just called in.
That was indeed.
Yeah, but there's chromosomes. That's my job on the side.
Good, smart people, man.
Yeah, man. Good generation, man.
Yeah, man.
All I want to make my offspring. I go on Cuba now. That was 7 years ago, but don't worry about that. And I get to the point now. Sterling, like you were calling the first call about the coronavirus. Right? And that's speculating, right? That if it's a bioweapon, let's get about it, right? If that's a tactic to eliminate certain population, but I do my depth with it. And look at You see, I went prison 3 times now. For one person, people came on with this. The publication, there for myself. The first time I get sentenced, my lawyer tell me I'm a plead guilty. I said, not guilty, I get 1 year for it. 8 months. And the judge said, boy, if I pick judge alone, I would have got off. But no, this is limit learner. This is Sterling. Look at the point now. In China, they had a black death now. The black death, whoop off. Right? And to remedy that, they had the ball rot too. And they send that way out to people. So Sterling gets to the point now, inadvertently. When I was not in prison, I served time with Nova Barrett, deceased, illegal alien. They can't pay rent down with the park, you know. I woke up 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, I had a couple shots without. The police take him out. Whatever, if that were interchangeable over. Yeah? Cause he came back flossing. Came back, flossing. He did it for him, came back bringing flossing. Yeah, it came on over that. So I come from. So, like it is Sterling, right now, with the herb market now, yeah, for years, right, even in the US now, that was legal at one point now. But the day 2030 is the feds put a cease to it. Right? And listen, it's Sterling right now, reality check. That is Vulcan sizable now. Right? That improved the resilience of everything, you know. Yeah? But you see what happened now? Okay, man, like I said, Sterling, people know they discredit you, right? Sorry, class or caliber of where we come from. Yeah? You can't do that. You can't do that. Listen, when I went to court, right, the judge asked me which Ivy College I went to. Right? How my vocabulary, I say I went to school now. I went to Catholic school, 9.5 years, 10 shots. Right? My father said more than me. All that fundamentals and intellects in my head now. And it's Sterling, I got dozens of books. Every weekend I was talking to Brown, right, my family, my family. Right? You go in your way, I go in the opposite direction. You say, Rambo, boy, I love vocabulary. I say, I got books now. I got books, I read the books.
Yeah, man.
And I follow myself. But like I said, in these times, it's a new era. Like I say again, I be the first one that tell you about the husband suit in OC.
Yeah.
Husband suit, that's a necessity. Even a pilot thing too. Some pilots, if they travel certain jurisdictions, it's a joke. And they hostess, or stewardess, or what you want to call it. Yeah? But, like I say again, when you had a guest last week, I think last day called in, I tell you, the best time, just wash your hands off him. Simple. If you have to, you make your immune system robust. Yeah?
Yeah, man. True.
Final one thing I say, I saw a pharmacist over the weekend, and she told me her opinion. Right? She said, and how that come here, it's spending rapidly. The ratio, it's spending rapidly. So, boy, I think it's serious. I'm not about it now.
Yeah.
All I worry about is tsunami. That's it for about tsunami. Hurricane, I get people hurricane.
Yeah.
Tsunami, that's all about, that's tsunami.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All respect, Sterling. Have a good day.
Respect, man. Hey, thank you for sharing, man. I certainly appreciate you encouraging us to read and to seek knowledge, and once we get information that we can share it in a timely way. So blessings to you, my friend. As the caller recognizes, don't panic, don't be over alarmed, but be cautious. If we listen to health officials globally, if we pay attention to those that share, some of us may draw inferences. Some of us may say, well, because of this, then therefore that. Sadly, many of us, not just of our own government here in Cayman, but of the governments of the leading economies across the globe, we may not be as trusting and as trustful of them, perhaps sometimes because of their own action and inaction over the years. But hey, work together. Let's take one final call. Good afternoon and welcome. You want to talk today?
Sterling?
Yes, ma'am.
I had to call back. I had to marry my...
Yes, ma'am. And thank you for calling, and we'll have you as the final call. And good afternoon to you, ma'am.
More reports to put out.
Okay.
Listen to me. I'm going to finish my... No, in other words, I'm going to finish my report about that junk car that is down on the corner there. That is the area. Sorry, I get new. I can take bus now,
Good for you. All right.
So here, But that area where this little junk car is, where they picked it apart there, is where you have, not only me, everybody that catch a bus stand in that little area, to well on the bus because you got some illegal trees planted there. but you're getting some shade. I don't mean ganja trees,
I know, but thanks for clarifying that, but I know, And people don't realize that they're, okay, go right ahead.
Yeah, so this is it now.
Mm-hmm.
I realize because look at how I am, how I'm situated in my bedroom, right? If I draw my curtain, I can look straight down the road. I didn't explain this part a while back, but then I'm going to say it now. So I'm just seeing now, taking my little break in between my chores, and I'm looking out there, looking straight down there. People are standing like in the road to wait on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, Sterling?
I hear you.
This is getting this is so terrible. I really hope that someone listen now this time they come move that old junk car from around the corner there and people have to get a little bit of shade to catch a bus. And Sterling, another thing about the buses now. Okay, since I can take the buses now, I watching from my kitchen window that I can be timing the buses, right? So by the time I get outside, by the time I get dressed and what I can get outside, lock my door, I miss all the 3 buses before I get down to that little corner. And then now, at this stage now, I got to stand out in the hot sun or what? They need to come and move it. They need to come first. No, come and check who got it there, and then come to move it. Pay the government. They can pay to move it. Yeah. But this is what needs to happen. They need to be charged to pay for it to be moved.
Well, I think as you're sharing, though, and I appreciate that gentleman that called a few weeks back to publicly share what I think everybody in society understands to be the informal, accepted practice. You take the car, you put it on the public road, and 2 things happen. It gets picked apart, and then it gets discarded at the country's expense. We need to address that. As you shared, it's now provided a hazard to you. But hopefully it's addressed, Mom. You want to say one last thing?
Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
So let's know about the one that people keep talking about on Town Hall Road.
Mm-hmm.
That is finally moved.
It is, yes.
It was down to a shell.
Yep.
So I hope they don't leave this one here now till they get down to the shell, neither. But they need to come and move it.
Yes, well. All right. Thanks very much. And that, to that caller, yes, it is an impediment to her. It is an eyesore. It's a health hazard. But perhaps it speaks to something greater. And this practice that we have in our society to just litter the place, from discarding our cars in public roads to dumping our appliances and household garbage. Sometimes not even in remote areas, just along the roadside. If it is, and I'm not trying to offend anybody. Sometimes, though, if you're offended, maybe it's indicative that you have a conscience, and so your conscience is pricked, and you decide, you know what, this is not right. But sometimes it could just be a malicious, deliberate thing to offend the sensibilities of the wider society. Maybe it's your way of protesting something, an injustice, or whatever. But is that the best way to do it? Sometimes you may just feel aggrieved. I mean, finally, think of the employee who, for whatever reason, is disgruntled and decides to use the employee's bathroom, as it were, and leaves the water running or leaves the lights on when really there's no need, or perhaps doesn't flush the toilet. Now, these may sound like things, but little things that are significant. So, to each, let's accept responsibility. Let's recognize that our actions impact others, just like the spread of germs and proper hygiene. Well, with this coronavirus, maybe it's unfortunate that we attach so many names to it, COVID-19 and this and that, and call it novel. Well, this thing can kill if it affects those, as we understand, who already have a compromised immune system. Is there something that we can do? Yes. Can we follow the advice and listen intently to official sources and employ the strategies? Yes. Can we avoid speculating, sharing nonsense? Yes. Can we ensure that we don't, for what it's worth, be wise? Take, for instance, the attempt at disinformation and sharing what otherwise could have been a way to take people's information. You're spoofing somebody's email, you're sharing something that attacks people's sensitive data because they may click on this, they may share that link or whatever. Sometimes, and I say this carefully, but seriously, sometimes when you see that behavior and you're, part of that group, check yourself, man. I mean, is this what we've become as a people? And then finally, equally important, can we really be your brother's keeper? Can we do things intently to make it better? Not an attempt to be naive. It probably comes sometimes with the unknowing. It's not even an attempt to be noble. It's just an attempt to be sensible and responsible. Well, God's willing, I will be here tomorrow. I may be a bit late because I've got things that, well, only me can do for me. So I'm very grateful for, the opportunity to be able to do them without having to worry, because we have great leadership like Miss Norma and Miss Paulette. Mr. Patrick Schmid will start things. He'll be here with us through the program. If I get back before the show starts, then we'll do it together. If he gets on the way and I join him when I join him, we'll do it then. So he's going to start things off. That's the plan. I'll be here when I get here. One of my friends from Hawaii says, what time you start? We start when we start. Well, no. Patrick Schmid will host us tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that discussion. Hopefully I can join him on time. Thank you very much. Let's do all we can to make it better, because, man, we live in a blessed place. And like Mr. Dolan says, Susan is the best. We agree. Like Dr. Lee and our healthcare professionals, you've seen the video from Dr. Ebanks. Well, go ahead and wash your hands. This is the way we wash our hands. Well, wash them properly. Until tomorrow, my friends, be blessed.
Here is where tradition never dies. This is your radio, K-Man.